Most things famous have a story behind them nobody tells, and cheese has some of the best stories in human history. Welcome to the Cheese Vault. Every week we crack open the hidden histories behind the world's most iconic cheeses. Today's story starts with a shepherd, a beautiful woman, and a cheese so valuable that a king made owning it a crime. There's a mountain in the south of France that breathes, not metaphorically, actually breathes. Deep inside its limestone body, cracks stretch for miles. Natural vents the French call fleurins. Wind travels through them constantly, keeping the temperature inside at a precise 9 degrees Celsius. Every hour, every day, for millions of years. And buried inside that mountain, wrapped in foil, lies a cheese so protected by French law that faking it can land you in a courtroom. They call it the King of Cheeses. But the real story of Roquefort is not about kings. It's about a boy, a girl, and a mistake that changed the world. Somewhere around 1,000 years ago, on the plateaus above a village called Roquefort-sur-Saulzon, a young shepherd sat down for lunch. Bread, ewe's milk cheese, nothing unusual. Then he saw her, a young woman walking in the distance, beautiful, alone, and moving away from him with every second. The shepherd panicked. He dropped his food inside a nearby cave to keep it cool, and he ran. Nobody knows what happened between them. Some versions of the story say he never caught up. Others say she rejected him. One tells it that he simply forgot about the cheese entirely, distracted by love, for months. But when he finally returned to that cave, hungry, heartbroken, or maybe both, the food he'd left behind had changed. His bread was ruined, covered in a strange blue-green mould that spread like a bruise across the crust. But the mould had spread into the cheese, too, threaded through it. Veined it like marble. He was starving. He ate it anyway. And what he tasted in that cave on that afternoon was unlike anything a human being had ever put in their mouth before. Sharp, salty, buttery, alive. The world's first blue cheese had just been born by accident. Here's what the shepherd didn't understand. He wasn't just lucky, he'd stumbled into one of the strangest microclimates on Earth. The village of Roquefort-sur-Saulzon sits on top of a collapsed limestone plateau. Millions of years of geological pressure created a vast network of caves underneath, and those caves are not sealed. Cracks called fleurins connect them to the outside world like the lungs of the mountain, breathing cool, humid air in and out constantly. Temperature inside, a steady 9 degrees Celsius. Humidity, 95%, year-round. And living in the soil of those caves, invisible to the naked eye, was something extraordinary. A fungus called Penicillium roqueforti. It exists almost nowhere else on Earth. It thrives in these specific caves on this specific mountain, under this specific pressure of air and moisture. When that fungus met the shepherd's abandoned cheese, it did what fungi do. It fed on it, reproduced, threaded itself through the wheel like blue lightning, and in doing so, it created a flavor so intense, so complex, so utterly unlike anything else that word of it spread across France within decades. By the 8th century, the Emperor Charlemagne himself had tasted it and loved it. By the 11th century, Roquefort appeared in the official records of an abbey nearby, and by the 15th century, it had become something a king was willing to fight for. On the 3rd of June 1411, King Charles VI of France signed a royal decree. It stated that only the villagers of Roquefort-sur-Saulzon were legally permitted to age blue cheese in the caves of Mount Combalou. Nobody else, not the surrounding villages, not the wealthy landowners, not even other regions of France. If you tried, the crown could seize your product. This was over 600 years ago. Think about that. In a time before food regulation, before trademarks, before intellectual property law even existed as a concept, a French king wrote the first food protection law in history. And it was for a cheese. That royal decree still holds today. By law, a wheel of cheese cannot legally call itself Roquefort unless it has been aged inside those specific caves, using milk from Lacan sheep, following a process that has barely changed in 1,000 years. In 1925, Roquefort became the first cheese in the world to receive an appellation d'origine contrôlée, the French system of legal food protection that would eventually spawn Champagne, Bordeaux, and every other protected French delicacy you can think of. Roquefort didn't just create blue cheese, it created the entire concept of protected regional food. But here's where the story gets strange. Long before science understood what mould really was, shepherds in the Roquefort region had noticed something odd about the cheese. If you had a wound, a cut, a scrape, a bite that had gone bad, you could press a small piece of Roquefort against it, and it would heal faster, sometimes remarkably faster. For centuries, this was written off as peasant superstition, country nonsense, the kind of folk medicine that made educated people roll their eyes. Then, in 2012, a scientific study confirmed something nobody had expected. Roquefort cheese contains genuine anti-inflammatory proteins, real, measurable, active compounds that reduce infection and inflammation. Then a further study in 2013 found that proteins in Roquefort inhibit the propagation of certain bacterial infections, including chlamydia. The shepherds had been right for 1,000 years. Roquefort was quietly medicine before medicine existed. Today, only 7 producers in the entire world are legally allowed to make Roquefort. All 7 are located inside the same tiny French village. All 7 age their cheese in the same limestone caves. All 7 use the milk of the same breed of sheep. 3 million wheels of it are produced every year. Every single one is born in the dark in the same mountain, listening to the same wind that has blown through those fleurines for millions of years. The village of Roquefort-sur-Soulzon has a population of just 600 people. But every one of them lives on top of a legacy that changed food forever. A shepherd, a woman, a mistake, and a mountain that never stops breathing. If you found that fascinating, subscribe. Every week, the Cheese Vault goes deep into the untold stories behind the world's most extraordinary cheeses. Next time, we're heading to Italy, where a single wheel of cheese was worth more than gold, and stealing one could get you killed. Parmesan. The cheese banks used to lock in vaults. See you then.